Trevor. Well, good morning. Nice to see all of your faces today. Um, Call to order the meeting of the Parks and Community Services Committee for Thursday, January 15th, 2026. I think our first order of business is approval of the minutes from the December 18th meeting. Does anyone have any corrections or conversations? If not, then can I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? Anyone want to second that?
I did, sorry.
Mark did.
That's why.
Right. Okay. Then those in favor, just show a simple show of hands. I think that means there's no one opposed, so that carries. Do we have anybody in the audience or online that wants to make public comment?
We do not.
Okay. All right. So we'll get right down to our meat of our meeting. The first thing we need to do is elect officers for this committee for this coming year. We'll need to, I believe I'm correct, we need to nominate and elect a chair and then a vice chair position. Is that right, Sherry?
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right. So I guess at this time I'll open the floor for nominations for chair.
I nominate Stacy for chair.
Okay. Stacy, will you accept that nomination?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much.
Okay. Is anyone else want to make a nomination?
For all positions?
No, just for the chair position. Thank you. Nothing more? Not quite sure, Sherry, what the exact protocol is. Do you need to ballot us one by one, just for the record?
Somebody needs to move motion to appoint the chair to.
I'm sorry, I did not catch that answer.
Somebody needs to move a motion to appoint the chair position to them.
Okay. Okay, so since we've only got one candidate nominated, do I have someone who wants to make a motion to elect Stacy Benefield as chair for the 2026 term?
I move to elect Stacy for the 2026 term.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Sherry, would you just take a quick roll call, please?
All right. Anita Duber,
Yes.
Les Sinclair,
Yes.
Betty Aaron,
Yes.
Tom Landrum,
Yes.
and Mark Moore.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Is he gonna vote too?
Congratulations. Stacy, let me go ahead and finish the elections, and then if you want to take over, that's wonderful.
Oh, okay.
Either way. Okay, so now we need to accept nominations for the position of vice chair for this committee.
I nominate Les.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Okay, can I have a motion to accept my nomination, Les Sinclair, as vice chair of this committee?
I move that Les Sinclair become vice chair of this committee.
Thank you, Betty.
Well, I'll second that.
Okay,
Oh, sorry, Mark.
now does someone else want to step up? Okay. Then, since we've got a motion with a second, Sherry, just go ahead and call the roll for a final vote.
Anita Dewberg,
Yes.
Les Sinclair. Oh, I guess you can. Betty Garrett,
Yes.
Tom Landrum,
Yes.
Mark Murray,
Yes.
and Stacy Benfield. Yes.
All right, well, thank you very much. We'll be happy to serve in this capacity. All right, so Stacy, do you want to pick it up here? Or do you want me to go ahead and finish it out? I'm open either way.
Why don't you go ahead and finish it out?
That'll be fine. So monthly state of the parks. I think I heard Perk's voice in the background.
And AJ too.
Oh, hello, AJ.
Well, AJ's gonna start out. All right. He does all the work.
So for this month, so far, we've built 2 trash receptacles and deployed 1 at the ECFR entrance.
Thank you.
Probably noticed it. If Paul was requested by council, so. But yeah, it seems like a good spot to have them. And then at the Midtown restrooms, I finished the retaining wall that I have been building between the Legion and the restroom. I added a few more blocks to it and then got some nice caps to go on the top and glued them all down. And then over at the Spruce Street parking lot, there's a little drain that runs underneath the path that goes through the driftwood. And I poured a little curb there, to hide the drain and keep the gravel from, sloughing off into the parking lot. The Christmas lights have been removed for this year. And then just various little things helping the roads department, clear catch basins and stuff like that. And then, I don't know if you have anything else to add.
Well, I spent much more time than usual this month, covering the recycle center. Because of all the holidays and where they fell and the city hall closure don't necessarily correspond with the recycle. But, ours is just holidays, not extra ones. And, AJ's doing a little investigation of the playground, see what kind of order we have to make for new replacement parts before the season comes up. We got a little crack in one of the tubes down below on the wayside. No big deal, but we want to be proactive and get stuff fixed before, spring break or summer. And I just, today I just started cleaning out the gutters of the old Kennedy School just in case. I'll finish that today. And that's about it.
Thanks, guys, for.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yep, thank you. Any discussion pertinent to the state of the parks? Okay. No, go ahead. Did someone want to speak and I talked over them?
Oh, daffodils are poking up a little bit, sorry.
Hopefully we don't get a big freeze that comes in and kills everything.
Okay, thank you. I noticed we've got a couple of right-of-way tree applications, and as I appreciate them, they're all already done. They're after the fact. Was there any discussion on either of those? I think there were 2 that had a total of 4 or 5 trees. No conversation, no questions?
Question, but just an observation. Thanks for the follow-up documentation for those and maybe more so for the initiative to get those things taken care of as emergency action if needed and completing the documentation process that happens. Correct.
So there was a recommendation to plant additional trees after the fact, once the police station is completed? Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah, so on East Sitka, those removals we had to do. I still have to go through that area again with the water line project, the backbone project, and once that's done, and the police department's done, we're gonna plant back in that general area. There's some ivy we have to remove in that whole grove, but just rejuvenate that whole area again once we're all done with it.
You?
Okay. Anything further? No, thank you. Betty, how about the monthly reserve cleanup? Any updates?
Oh, yes. So this month we're gonna meet. We didn't have it last month. We took a break. So this month we are going to meet at the Ecola Creek Park right near First Street Bridge along the path. We're gonna go. We've done the park itself. We're gonna move up the path toward the skate park, and we're going to be doing that. And so are the Ecola Bible College students. As we move forward, we're going to be planting pollinator bushes and trees and plants, flowers. So we're hoping that whole trail will just be a beautiful example of how our city appreciates pollinators. So we're going to meet there this Saturday from 10 to noon, and exciting things happening. AJ is
Betty?
going to be buying some plants, so he can talk to you about what kind of plants he's going to buy.
There's some
So-
money found somewhere for that? Good.
Well,
Through TAC? Through the Tourism and Arts, or do you know?
I don't know where it's coming from, but I'm sure appreciating it.
I think, Anita, was your question where the budget is coming for the plants that AJ is gonna purchase?
Correct.
from my parks budget, my
Oh,
material
okay.
supplies.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Betty, I know that Mark had provided some a seed mix.
Mhm.
Have we tried to put that out anywhere as of yet?
Yes, we have it at the Ecola Creek Park. It's
Okay.
actually very liberally spread, to my surprise, but it's wonderful because even though the king tides came in there, I think it was early on, it didn't seem to dissuade the flowers from starting to to come up. So I'm hoping that's still true. I haven't seen it. I've been in Hawaii, so haven't seen it, but I think that those flowers are going to be great. And we planted some in Whale Park too, so we'll have to see how that goes.
They elk proof?
I don't know. I hope so. I hope I hope the elk hate them.
Well, they're self-seeding too, so you don't have to keep planting them year after year.
That's
Great.
Yeah.
Assuming they make it to seed, yes, but I'm excited to see what they look like as well. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark, for sharing that with us.
Yes.
I actually purchased a couple more pounds of that, thinking there might need to be some fill-in seeding, which we can do after the frost threats, maybe in March or April. There's actually we can turn a little more in there. That's a good time to sell them, if it was germinating before drier season.
That'd be great.
Great. Thank you very much. Anything further, discussion wise? Okay, so this will be our first opportunity to touch base on community grants. I think everybody on the committee has been through this before. Sherry has put some information in our packet. And I'm going to call, and Sherry, I'm going to get you to help us here. It looks like the calendar has been updated for the correct dates for 2026. Is that about right?
Well, I did kind of color code, the red dates are locked in, because those are council meetings. I know that February 20th, everything's kind of it's up to you guys on if you review it. And you're good with the dates, I can start making sure that we have reservation rooms and things available for you. But I think one was May 18th or 19th. For the committee to discuss. Your worksheets. That will be sent out. So I wasn't sure which date to log in. For May 18th or 19th. Because then your final worksheets will be due around May 20th. Because you do have to get them over to the council. I think I have May 22nd, the packets due for council. And the work session was June 2nd. So there's some dates in there that could move, you guys can get them to, but.
So either Monday or Tuesday, May 18th or 19th, that's what you're asking about.
Yes. But to know the 8th or the 19th, I do have a public works meeting. I just didn't know if you wanted it on Monday.
Monday's fine.
You know, we're far enough out that it's hard to predict, for me anyway, which day would be better. Right now, either one would be fine, for my purposes.
I agree with that.
Me too.
Me too.
Okay, so you guys want May 18th?
Yeah, that doesn't conflict with what you need to do on Tuesday, so.
Yeah, I
We
think-
know- Sorry. Sorry, Les, I was just gonna ask, do we know the budget we've been allocated by city council yet for this year?
It'll be last year's until they review it.
The original amount from last year or the amount that it was adjusted to last year?
Probably the amount that it was adjusted to last year.
What I'd say.
Yeah, I would say. Be great, yeah.
I could email Tim and verify that.
What was it about last year?
On Saturday.
They up it, right?
Really upped it, yeah.
That's nice.
On
Perfect.
Saturday.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
I'll double check that and make sure.
Thank you.
So the number, just for clarification, that we can at least assume would be the budgeted number for this prior year, which was 145, is that right?
No,
I think that it went up from
it
there.
belongs to 170 and.
Yeah, but I mean, it was budgeted at one number and I think it's 145, and then it was increased at the budget committee meeting and then approved by the council for a larger number based on need. And I'm just curious, in the past, we've always, as far as I know, we've always assumed whatever was funded last year would be our target for the next year. I don't think that it really makes a whole lot of difference in terms of how we proceed. I think we all understand that until they go through the budgeting process, we won't really know the exact number. But anyway, I was just curious. I can't quite hear all the conversation sometimes, and it sounded like folks wanted to, from a preliminary standpoint, stick to the 145, but I may have misunderstood.
I think we said it'd be the higher amount. So 172 or 175 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'll get with Tim and verify what our budget amount.
Okay. I'd say that's it's helpful for me anyway to kind of know going in what we might have, but it's only a preliminary guesstimate at best. So we'll do the May committee meeting to discuss the preliminary worksheets on Monday, May 18th. Is that right, Sherry?
Yes.
Okay. And then, final worksheets on the 20th. I'm sorry, I'm having to jump around from my calendar. So May the 21st is the Parks meeting. Is that correct? I think it is.
Yeah,
Yes.
And so the current schedule shows us meeting on Friday, May the 22nd for a special meeting.
That's up to you guys, this is kind of I don't set your guys' dates, you guys write most of it.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to utilize the parks meeting for any of that, it's your call.
that seems like a good use of time, just to extend our meeting a touch
Just make the meeting.
on the
longer.
21st, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Either way, it's a public meeting, so it's not like we aren't going to be discussing items that would be available to anybody that was interested. I'd just do it on a regular scheduled meeting on the 21st, I think. Now,
Sure.
normally, as I recall, so we have presentations on the May the 14th, preliminary worksheets due the next day. Then we'll go over the worksheets on the 18th and have any discussions, leveling discussions, anything that we need to talk about at that point. Have the final worksheets due on Wednesday, the 20th for, I guess, committee to review and accept on the 21st. That seems like that works to me. They're all pretty, there's not a lot of time in there. We're condensing it down to basically 7 days, but I think we can get that done.
Perfect.
Okay. Of course, we'll be subject to the council's meeting schedule at that point. Okay.
One
So May-
other issue I remember last year is when we had our presentations. It actually, I guess it depends on how many applicants we get. But keep in mind that maybe we need. I know that you guys don't have any breaks or lunch periods, you know what I'm saying? So maybe after we find out how many applicants we have, it'll kind of show your day. But for right now, I did reserve the chamber hall, May 14th, all day. For you guys.
Okay, thank you.
And then it looks like you've got time on for a special meeting for any questions of the applicants by the committee. And that is on May 7th.
Correct. You guys identify questions and then I contact the applicants.
Right.
So that when you guys have the presentations, they can address those questions.
Okay, thank you. Do we know what time that is?
You want it 9?
Good with me.
Yeah, Anita, can you see that far in advance and can anticipate a time that works better for you?
No, I might recommend that if we do have specific questions for a specific organization, that we could email that. And then, by noon or whatever for Sherry, And then that would give what, 4 days for the applicants to respond before our presentation. So
So
that's
you're
what I'm-
saying instead of meeting, just email the questions?
if that works, that would be, but I feel like, as a committee member, I'd like to know what questions or concerns or thoughts anybody has on an applicant. So if there's not a time that anybody is sure of, that if we could just email them in, that might be an option rather than a meeting. It's a question.
How would we know what the questions were from everybody?
Well, that's what I'm suggesting, is that they go to the committee, they go through Sherry, and then she compiles that and then sends us
Mm.
so that we can see. But if there's a time that everyone agrees to, I'm fine with that too. But I'm not sure at this point in May that we're going to decide. If we do, that's great, but just presenting some options to think about. Maybe it doesn't need to be decided today, but just going forward, if we just want to email any comments or have a get together.
Okay. Well, for this purpose anyway, why don't we flag that with the question, do we even need to have a face-to-face meeting on the 7th, or are there alternatives? And give that a little bit of thought. I think Betty's comment about, I think it would benefit the whole group to know about what questions might have come up. And I'm not quite sure how, in these days of being so careful to not have serial meetings and email trains and all that other stuff, I don't know what the right answer is, but let's get, we'll give that some thought, see if we can't make a recommendation. How's that?
Plus, if I remember correctly, last year, it helped us with a special meeting, helped us identify whether the packet was complete,
Mm-hmm.
actually qualified, with what information they gave us. And it was helpful for you guys to be together to have that discussion of whether you continue with them as an application, or if it needs to be notified that they are disqualified for any reason. I think that's why we had that discussion, because at that time, you guys had it on the packets we were to review, and bringing anything to the table that I need to go back to them with specific criteria. Like, I think I had to turn down two of our applicants last year.
You're right.
So I think that's why we did that meeting.
It makes sense. I'm not opposed to it at all. I'm just trying to figure out how to accomplish that.
Right.
Les Kirk wants to say something.
I think the questions, extra questions to the applicants, be better off coming from the committee as a whole, as opposed to some extraneous off the wall. I think it'll also be less work for Sherry. Like, everyone sends in their questions, there'll be some repetitious questions. Maybe some of you guys can answer each other's questions before it goes to the applicant. I just think the questions are better coming from the committee. I think a meeting's in order.
Well, I think last year, Les actually put it on an email of what question was to be asked. And most of them came to the presentation with their answer. They didn't necessarily, so it's kind of one of those things, be prepared, this question will be asked at the presentation, so that they were already ready to answer that question.
So they were blindsided.
Exactly.
Well, then why don't we meet on May 7th at 9 AM?
There you go. Thank you, Stacy.
Spoken like a leader. Perfect.
Yeah.
Good idea.
All right, are there any further discussion or, on the, timeline? Specifically? Sherry, the, packets are gonna be made available on the 20th, February 20th, is that?
Correct,
Okay.
I post the public notice at the post office. And I put it on our website, our packet on the website, and they actually go on our website, fill everything out and send it in to me. There's instructions specifically telling them how to go out on the line.
Thank
The
you,
reason I asked,
Sherry.
yeah, thank you. So Sherry has attached, what looks like basically the information we published last year. It's what I think it looks like anyway. I noticed some of the dates haven't been updated from 25 to 26 and that sort of thing. Now the 20th is the Friday following our February Parks meeting. So it looks to me like, Sherry, what you are looking for is feedback from the committee if there needed to be any updates to any of the packet material, so that on the 19th, we could kind of all agree it looks great, and then you post it on the 20th. Is that what you want?
Correct.
Okay. I don't recall any issues concerning the information we provided in the application packet last year. Does anybody on the committee know that there's something we should have done different? Or it looks like we have this month to think about it and give Sherry the feedback, but I'm just curious if anybody else already can remember something we wished we had done that we didn't. No, not yet. Well, let's make a point of giving Sherry feedback if something does crop up. The only issue with that I can recall is the same one we always do. Somebody doesn't completely meet our requirements and we have to not allow them to participate. And I hate that every year. I don't know what we could do different though. So is there any further conversation with regard to community grants at this point? How are we doing on time anyway? Not bad.
I don't see any changes except just dates for the packet.
Yeah, I didn't really at this moment have anything that I wanted to change other than making sure all the dates were correct either, but I'll look through it one more time, a little more closely and make sure. I guess I kind of skipped over the American Legion in terms of that. So also in the packet, well, not in the packet, I think. Sherry, help me understand what we did. So as a separate email, we received a note from the American Legion saying that they wanted to use their grant from 24-25. No, that wouldn't be right. For 25-26, last year's grant, for a different purpose than what they applied for. Is that right?
Right, so they had emailed, myself and I forwarded it to, Chris, our public works director. That they hadn't asked to use some of the funds that they were, awarded. And use some of that, they had an emergency, water heater, Chris.
Correct.
They had a water heater, leak and they had to repair or replace. And so they were asking us if they could use some of those funds that they originally asked for in the grant and use 3,000 of it that was left over from what they did use their purpose, of the money. to purchase a new water heater. I think Chris, I don't wanna speak for you, but he did email them back that he felt that that was justified. And that they could go ahead and get that, purchase that water heater so that they didn't have a water issue. And so I apologize, I was really good and I went through and I redacted private information on that we are now required to do. And then I forgot to post it in your packet. So I really redacted it.
Just to be abundantly clear, you know, I mentioned to this individual, like, staff would recommend that this is acceptable use of that portion of the funds. But I did not give them like direction, like, go ahead and do it.
Oh.
I did say out of abundance of caution, I'll bring it before the committee, and then I'll let them know after this meeting. In all likelihood, they purchased the water heater, cause they needed it immediately. So it's really just a question of the dollars that they had earmarked for, kitchen and drain line improvements. They've been struggling to find a contractor to do that work. And so they identified that portion of the money they can utilize for the water heater. And actually, the water heater would cost more than what that portion was allocated for, and the American Legion would put up the rest to do it. So and they're still staying within the bounds of their grant that they've been given. So upon the conclusion of this meeting, I'll inform them whether or not they can use that portion. But I wanted to bring that before you guys.
Correct.
Thank you. So would we need to make a motion to,
I don't think you need to make a motion, but you need to be in agreement, so. Good thing, would you say, Chris? I don't know.
I don't mind how you would all like to do it as a committee. It wouldn't hurt to do a motion.
I think we should go ahead and approve it, so.
Feels like a stronger vote of confidence. You know, we would expect the Legion to basically explain what they did when they filed their post-award response, as they're required to do every year they get an award. But I did not think that this change would affect the way I viewed their eligibility for another grant in the future. So I thought it was fine. That was my opinion. But why don't we go ahead and do a real quick motion and vote from the committee, just so we've got something formally on the record. Would someone like to think of and make a motion?
I'll make a motion to allow the American Legion, the Cannon Beach American Legion, to use their funds to purchase a water heater instead of the original intention of the grant or the original request.
Okay. Second, any further discussion?
I appreciate their letting us know about
Mhm.
that change, and I hope we can convey that to them, so any future organization that has a change in grant funding would also follow that.
I
Yeah,
will
I
do that.
completely agree. Okay, Sherry, why don't you do a very quick roll call?
Anita Huber,
Yes,
Leslie Blair,
Yes.
Betty Aaron,
Yes.
Tom Landry,
Yes.
and Stacy Bennett.
Yes. And Mark.
And Mark, morning.
Yes.
Correct.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
All right. Was there any other discussion that we need to touch on right now as far as next year's community grants process?
I think you covered it all.
I'm sorry, for some reason, Sherry, you are simply not coming through very clearly for me, but are we okay?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so 12 days of Earth Day. You recall the last meeting we had, we were discussing the possibility of going to a 12-month type calendar. as we've continued to have dialogue, I think that there's some concerns mostly uh, around the amount of effort that would be involved in putting together, basically a monthly program versus what we're currently doing. I'm not comfortable going to the council and telling them what we're going to do until I think we've had a little bit more time to work on exactly what it is we do want. I'm not quite sure where to go next. Would anyone like to make a comment on what we should do or what you think we should do?
I could comment if that's okay.
Sure.
Um, why don't we have a subcommittee figure out how it would work best? Because in my mind, I feel like we would have some kind of event. It could be a talk or a movie, or we could hook up with another nonprofit that's already doing something and see if we could just advertise what they're doing. I think it would take a lot of pressure off of our April, um, just because April is also moving into community grants. So I was just thinking it would be an easier way for us to celebrate the earth, and it wouldn't diminish. I don't think it would diminish what's happening on those 12 days. It would just take the pressure off because we could still do shreds, we could still do the beach cleanup, we could still do the fair and the parade and all the things that we normally do, the tree planting, the Tree USA, but we would have, and maybe would have one special talk or two, but the rest of the year we could just have something to highlight that our city really cares about the environment. And if you want to do that, I could be on that committee. I volunteer.
I'm curious why you're suggesting a subcommittee. We talked in November's meeting about having a work session with the entire Parks Committee, which I feel should be involved.
Okay.
If you have a subcommittee, then you've got select people that need to
Yeah.
come to the Parks Committee. And it just seems it's an extra step, and it's also going to create the public hearing and that sort of a consideration. So
Okay.
I'd like us to stay as a whole committee for this discussion.
Okay.
And then more conversation about if we want to piggyback on other organizations, Earth, lectures, movies, events.
Mhm.
And also, while we're focusing on exactly the specifics of our involvement with the fair, the parade, the shred, the tree planting.
Okay. That sounds great.
That's just me.
Yeah. I'm not opposed to that. I think that would be great. Um, I would like to do it. I know we have the community grants kind of taking up our time in May. So maybe we could plan something for June so that we wouldn't have another whole year go by when we're still not doing the new plan. So,
Well,
anyways,
that's what I'm not clear of. So this year we're going to do the 12 days, and then we're going to try to figure out a 12-month schedule.
that's right. Well, I don't see yes, I guess that's
Okay.
what we're saying because we haven't been able to get approval from the council. We haven't really been able to talk as a group. So I'm just trying to move it forward somehow. So your idea is great if we could just get a meeting so that we could do it, plan it out, and then present it to the council.
Okay, but this year, so we need to focus on our 12 days.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. But I think that Stacy came up with some ideas she might share with us.
Well, my idea is for this year, just do it as we've done in the past and then determine if we want to make any changes. Because I do feel like we're way premature going to the council with changes because we don't really know what those changes might or might not be. And so, but we do need to start planning for this year because it's gonna come up before we know it. So, but I would suggest that we don't plan as many events as we've tried in the past because the attendance isn't always great. And so if we don't have anything planned for specific days that we just fill in the calendar with beach time with HRAP, because they're on the beach every day. But still have shreds, still have tree planting, still have the fair, still have the things that people love. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, the one thing, and I think Stacy, you and I talked about with the Solve event that always occurs on the same Saturday as the street fair, at least it always has in my experience. Maybe we could look into the possibility of doing that like the prior weekend to avoid that conflict. I don't know if that's even possible, but it might be worth looking into.
That's a great,
But is somebody, I thought I understood that the person that had done that in the past is no longer gonna be arranging for the South Beach cleanup that during Earth Day, is that correct?
Well, that's what my understanding, Pacific Alarms, Janae, Pearson has always been that point contact for all of the Solve events. And my understanding is that she would, like to not be doing that in the future. But I don't know exactly what that requirement is, if that's something someone else might be willing to take up. I really don't know enough about the Solve process. I was simply, that's just one of those conflicts that pulls people away from the downtown events or makes them choose one or the other. And I don't, it'd be nice if we didn't have that point.
Would
I
you
could-
like me to reach out to Janae and see if that's the case, that she's not gonna be moving forward with it? And then we can find out what kind of work is involved in planning something like that. Seems like it'd be a huge task.
It could be.
I have, the first year I did the street fair, I didn't realize Janae was part of it, part of the Solve thing, and I had reached out to them. So it's not onerous. You have to fill out quite a few forms, but it's not horrible. It's just that it's something else added to her plate that she's ready to pass on to somebody else. So if somebody in our committee would like to take that on, I think it's a valuable, and I agree with Les. We could spread it out, not have everything on the same day. Because, well, I just think that's having everything on the same day, it diminishes what we're doing in the main town. So everybody's going different directions. So anybody want to volunteer to try to take that on?
Well, I'll be happy to touch base with Janae, learn what I can about it. I'll talk to somebody at Solve there in Portland and see what the possibilities are and what that process looks like and bring that back to the committee. Is that acceptable?
That would be great.
I've always thought the state or somebody has jurisdiction over that and was organizing. So I didn't realize that it was a local effort that was needed in order to have it in your community or some such location.
I'm not clear on that either, Anita. I know there is a statewide push that weekend for Solve cleanups, but the there isn't one that shows up on their calendar specific for Cannon Beach unless somebody goes in and nominates it and supports it in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can have solve events at any time. I mean, you can have one, any time of the year, and they'll be happy to put it on their calendar and recognize it as a solve event. So I don't know that it's impossible, but I do know that weekend, even if Cannon Beach doesn't nominate ourselves, there are lots of other communities that are doing their cleanups that day.
Well, and that's the other thing, is coordinating, with Seaside or Manzanita and just sort of having a North Coast solve. If everybody coordinated in that way, that might be an easier way to get the word out and organize.
Could be. Yeah.
Well, great, Les. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'll see if I can find out some more from Janae and then to see what makes sense to the committee. How's that?
Sounds great. Thank you,
Yeah.
Les.
Thank
I'm
you.
not volunteering my wife, but she's helped Janae every single solve event for the last 3 or 4 years. So she knows what the
Well, I
ropes are
nominate
for the
Lynn
day
then.
anyway. No, don't tell her I did it. All right. Okay, so getting back to this work, if the committee is acceptable, then I would suggest that we just plan 12 days to be 12 days this year. And that we have an intentional work session to really work through what might we change. While I completely agree that with community grants coming right on the heels of 12 days, that's a big burden for the committee. My concern is more, we don't really have very good public participation. And I was really hoping that by spreading them out a little bit further, maybe, and leveraging off of other organizations, we'd have more people participate. I don't know.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, and so I don't think we need to schedule the work session right now, but let's make sure we do so. Maybe right on the heels of once community grants is come and gone. See if we can't find a place where we can do it. How's that?
I like that idea.
Is there any further discussion for 12 days at this point?
One thing I was is, when you guys do the shred event, I know that there's always an issue for payment to the truck. And it's not a budget item, so you'll need to have that conversation. Cause I think it's what, 1,200 usually, about only bring in like $200. And how you're gonna take money from some of those people that drop off a lot and you don't get money, so. That's something to keep in the back of your mind, but I don't know if Bruce is gonna or to pay for that again this year. I think years past he has, but I don't think it's in the budget right now. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's a good point. We do need to probably go into that this coming year a little more intentionally. And be certain of how we're gonna handle that.
I might just sort of throw in a point of, if we're going to start spreading the word that we're going to start charging people, that might be a little off-putting, as it's sort of been presented as a city-sponsored opportunity, my understanding.
It's always been donations highly recommended. And some people bring a whole truck of stuff and it takes, it's like we were thinking last year maybe we would have, some people take one small box and still give us $20. and other people give us a truck and give us $100. So it's like if we said, if you're using a can, maybe you pay this much. If you use, you know, so that we would make it more equal. We were talking
Well,
about it last year,
then
but
to me,
it's,
it gets complicated, you know, and then you've got to start policing, you know, well, that is over the limit and now you owe this much money. And I just feel like that just is not something, the message that I want to send for this event, that, you know, the city's going to give you this opportunity, but you're going to have to pay for it. And my understanding is that this has been a city-sponsored opportunity for people, and you know, as anything, there will be some that take more advantage or have more things to shred than others. But that's just my perception of where I see this is starting to go.
Yeah, I
Well,
think, go
For
ahead.
many years, before it became a city-sponsored event, they had a grant. The organization that sponsored it before had a grant. And they were able to use that for many years to pay for the shred event. And when that grant ran out, that's when, the city took on that expense. So I'd be happy to reach out and see if the city's willing to take that on again this year, the expense.
Well,
Would you guys
the
like
city
to
should
do that?
apply for a grant, maybe. And the Parks Committee can offer the city a grant for that event.
About to lose power.
I guess it wouldn't, if you need a grant, would. Yeah.
I guess if you guys need it in the budget, it needs to be proposed. Like, we're working on budget now, you guys need to get on board with for us to either put it somewhere, but I just know that it's never been presented to the budget.
Right. Can we make that request for this year then? That it be part of the budgeting process? Because you guys are working on that now, right?
Yeah, I don't see why not. If somebody can give me the information, maybe historical Sherry, or if somebody knows what that costs. You don't get what you don't ask for.
I like that.
But that wouldn't be for this year, right? That would have to be for next
Or
year.
conference, to get bonded and Bruce or somebody.
Okay, would you guys like me to go to the city manager and ask if he'd be willing to cover it again this year?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'd be happy to do that. And then if we could just get the information historically, give that
Stuff
to
like-
you, Chris, to add to the budget request. Or
Understood.
add to the budget, thank you.
And
Thank
then
you, Stacy.
for people that do donate, where does that funding go?
It went towards the cost. It went towards the cost of the truck.
Yeah, give it back to the city.
So the donations were given to the city and the city used whatever part they got to pay for the shred, and then the difference was covered by the city.
So the donations went back into the general fund or the budget for parks?
I can't answer that. Tim, I'm sure finance took care of that issue.
So if enough people donate, it might be a money-making opportunity for the city.
There you
There
go.
you go. We can have a 12-day celebration.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Well, Chris, it sounds like you're gonna maybe address the budgeting aspect of this. Appreciate that. And but if everybody on the committee kind of feels the same way, that we should be offering this as a city-sponsored event and not make people feel like they have to pay for it.
Right.
Is that right?
Still welcome donations.
Yeah, always welcome donations.
Right. Right. But not using that as a scale of what you can bring to shred.
No.
No, I think it's more in the spirit that we're trying to share that we provide it as a service to the community.
Yeah. So your
Uh,
donation's like a tip, you know, and that's
Yeah.
where be interested to know where those donations and not only how much, but where they end up landing.
Yeah. Well put. Okay, anything further? More conversation around 12 days? Okay. Good of the order. Anybody got anything to share with the group? Anita, thank you.
Yeah,
Well, I'm hoping at some point we can get back to reviewing the Parks Master Plan and get that back on the agenda. I know that there was some question regarding, I'm not quite sure what, if we were going to be meeting and public meeting rules and whatnot, but hopefully I'd just like to see it back on the agenda for discussion, as particularly with attention to NICUS, which is being currently discussed by council, and just the also tourism and arts funds and public art. And from what I'm understanding, council will be looking, and also TAF will be looking at applicants that are proposing a piece of art in a particular place. So that might be something for the Parks Committee to start thinking about, if there's a place that we might like to see some public art in one of the parks. Just kind of planting that seed for future consideration, potential.
Yeah, that was something that Nita, you brought forward last year. And I think, at least for my part, I've been remiss at keeping the master plan in front of myself, for the parks. I think that is something that we need to do a good job of this year and probably every year. That really should be our guiding document. And I think, at least for my part, it's been easy to get distracted by the things that aren't in that document, like community grants and 12 days and all the things that the Parks Committee gets asked to do. So I appreciate you bringing it up, and I do completely agree. We need to be familiar with that document and let it help guide us to where we need to put our efforts.
Agreed. Thank you, Les.
Mhm. Any other comments for good of the order? No? Well, I see the sun shining out y'all's window, so with that, I'll call the meeting to close. Thank
thank
you.
you, Les.
Thank you, Les, for your service.